In its 11th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, everybody. This is Alex Bennett, and live from Harlem in New York City. It's the Ramble. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Her nibs.
Her nibs, hello.
My favorite woman outside of my wife. And I'm only saying that because if I didn't add her there, she'd be mad at me. Yeah.
I think that's a good marriage maintenance move. Yeah, very good.
You are looking healthier and healthier every time I see you.
Well, that is good to hear, man. Well, I just got the results of my first PET scan after the treatments, the radiation, the chemo. And the radiation one is looking good. The scan is looking good from that point of view. I'm healing. I had that really bad cough. And so that kind of stalled things a little bit. But they gave me some medication for that. So I won't be a coughing dervish.
But the PET scan didn't see any new cancer or anything like that?
No.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
It's like I had to do it. I go into my urologist once every year now. And he checks me out. And then he takes a PSA test. And I wind up with no PSA, no discernible PSA, which I've never had in my life,
Is that, those are prostate markers, are they?
Yeah, well, because I have no real prostate action going on down there. Or anything else going on down there.
You have a lethargic prostate.
And my penis, which I used to be very proud of.
You guys were buds.
He was the one thing I had going for me that was a positive.
Yes, and he used to sit beside you at movies sometimes. You two were very close.
Yes, and sometimes late at night without anybody around, we'd hang out and do stuff.
Sure, he was always good to smoke a doob and hang.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, we then they did all this stuff on my prostate.
Yeah.
And now there's basically no penis there at all.
Yeah, no, because the penis and the prostate go hand in hand, don't they?
Well, kind of. I mean, ever since they did all this stuff to me, my penis is not as proud as it once was. Let's put it that way.
Proud and perky. Yeah, this brings me to one of my long-held desires. Don't you wish that we could all spend a day in the life of someone who's not our gender? So I could be a guy for a day. I would love to do that. I mean, forget inside John Malkovich. Just to know what the sensations are like, because the desire.
Well, it would make love making much better on the part of men, for instance, if they had to live in a female's body for say a day.
Right,
yeah.
And I would like to appreciate your drive. The drive for the orgasm.
Oh, you wouldn't want to get into that at all.
Did you seem bound by it?
Men think about sex constantly.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
constantly.
Well, the testosterone just says, "Look that way. Look at her ass." Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's always. What do they say? There isn't an hour or maybe a half hour that goes by that a guy doesn't think about sex.
Oh, I believe it.
When they're younger. When they're younger.
Yeah. Now, when you think about sex, do you actually think about the act, or is it just kind of a hardwired thing that when you see a woman's physique, it says, hello?
No, we go, I want that.
Okay, and yeah, you want that.
Not, I don't want that like I want her body. No, I want that. I want her.
Oh, okay. Do you imagine? Do you take it a step further and imagine her lying beside you, or
no? I go over and say hello.
It starts there.
Yeah, no, guys. Women don't understand guys. And
No,
guys don't understand women. And the one thing we have to understand about each other is we're two entirely different species.
Exactly. I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would, like I say, I would give anything to know why some, hedge fund operator who's got millions in the bank and a beautiful, wonderful wife, mother to his 2 kids, he will toss that aside for a roll in the back of a taxi with his hot secretary.
Well, I had a wife once who said to me, why are you always thinking about, why do you go out, because I was cheating, why do you go out and have sex with these women? I said, darling, you are everything to me. I love you desperately. The only thing you aren't is somebody else.
That's it. See, that's it. I completely, yeah. Something you can never be. And I understand all that. I might find it hard, from an ego point of view, might find it hard to overlook in my spouse. But I don't have any desire to cheat. I grew up Pentecostal.
Well, but I see guys, well, women don't cheat because they have a biological problem there. If they cheat and they get pregnant, they don't want to get pregnant.
Yeah, because I would never have sex with somebody that I hadn't thought it's feasible that I could conceive a child with.
And you would want to have it with that person, and you realize that even though you may not wind up living with each other, you're going to spend the rest of your lives having a connection to each other through that child.
Right, and that I'm bringing another person in the world to deal with all the world's challenges and persecutions and woes. And I just don't think I have the right to do that to another person.
Yeah, but
it's hard enough for me.
But what I was saying about saying that you're everything to me except somebody else. That there isn't a guy out there, I don't think, who just doesn't want to have some strange.
Yeah, that's right.
And even though, and when I see guys who are good husbands and they've never cheated on their wives, and their wife has never cheated on them, I think to myself, what's wrong with them?
Well, I think it's conditioning. It really is conditioning and initial experiences.
No, but you say you won't cheat. But,
and I don't even like the word. I don't think that I would be engaged in infidelity to my marriage.
There are times when you haven't been going with somebody or you haven't been married to somebody, right?
Yeah, right.
At that time, do you then go out and live it up?
No, I'm probably more open to it. But I don't seek it out, really. But no, I'm definitely more open to it.
Yes. But what I'm saying is you don't cheat because when you have somebody, you're loyal to them 100%.
Right, out of respect for them and the anguish it might cause them. That's it.
Well, there was a time in my life where it was hard for me to be monogamous.
Yeah.
And now I find it quite easy because I've had the prostate operated on, and I don't have any
it's made for me.
There's no, I had a cat once, Shabbos. I love the cat. But what he would do is my wife went out and had basically every male cat that we had castrated. I got rid of her before she got around to me, but that's an old joke. Anyway.
She had that gleam, that castration gleam in her eye.
Yeah, but he was castrated, and we had a female cat, and she was not fixed. So she would go into heat.
Oh, the noise they make is scary.
Oh, God, and Siamese.
Are they the worst?
You have to move into another apartment while she's in heat.
Really?
But anyway, he would then hop on top of her, right?
Yeah.
And start going at it for a second or so, and then he would say, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
It was almost I could almost see that question mark going out above his head like a little cartoon.
Yeah.
What the hell? I don't,
must be some sense memory, It seems like a good idea.
Then he would turn around and leave, and then she'd start hitting him, like,
really?
Finish the job, damn it, finish
it. Well, I know that sometimes you'll see like dogs with a boner, And I'm like, and they're tied up.
That's a pretty
I'm like,
ugly.
well, no wonder.
I don't know why a female dog would want that, because it's the ugliest thing in the world.
It's frightening. It's like looking at a medical abnormality.
Yes,
it's really
exactly.
scary.
Yeah.
Because our neighbor
it looks
had
like
one.
a balloon that isn't inflated.
Yeah, this really vivid pink.
Yeah.
Because we had a neighbor and they didn't have their dog fixed, and he was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get the boner,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would start, rustling up against neighborhood children. And we finally had to say something about it because we lived next door, and it's just like without any understanding of how that happens and what that is, and it was just like their dog's acting weird, and he's like, grabbing onto me. That was weird, and it was soon stopped.
Yeah, well, I mean, dogs, guys aren't that bad.
No, I didn't mean. No,
I
that
mean,
was
I see a woman that's beautiful and lovely. I don't go over and start humping her leg. You know, it's
unless she'll stand for it.
But but we have to understand that the guys are different than women, and that's it. But women don't want to understand that about men. They're always going. Like I think I had one woman when we were doing the show in San Francisco called up and said, "My husband's cheating on me. What should I do?" And I said, "Well, how's your marriage? Do you have sex regularly?" So she said, "Yes." I said, "Do you get along and stuff like that?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "You're going to break up a marriage for that?"
Right. Just dalliance?
A dalliance? Forget it. That's a guy. He almost can't help himself. Okay?
Yeah. I don't believe in the word cheating even. I mean, it's not what I...
And why ruin a beautiful relationship over that?
Exactly. I think it is best to discuss this, your priorities during the marriage or before you get married. Yeah. Like, how are we going to treat these things? Because they're bound to come up. And, how are we going to treat if one of us steps out? How are we going to deal with that? And why would it bother you if it would? And I think mostly for me, it represents a lack of respect. And I don't want to be that person. And I don't want to be involved with people I don't respect. So it makes it easier.
Well, I respected the women that I was married to, but I cheated anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my big problem in life. I had to begin with, when I was younger, I was kind of a goofy kid. I was a Jewish kid in an all-Catholic neighborhood and things like that. There was no way I was going to get laid easily. Okay? I just didn't have the qualifications unless finally I pulled my pants down and you saw what I had. But outside of that, but you don't go up to somebody and say, while you're thinking of whether you want to go out with me, let me just show you something. You don't do that. Okay?
No, if you did.
So when I went into broadcasting, all of a sudden there were women chasing me.
Yeah.
And because I had never had that happen, I was taking full advantage of it, and I was married. I was married at the time.
Oh, okay. And see, if suddenly that option and that opportunity was thrust upon you for the first time in your life, it would be, I think, it'd just be human nature to act on it. And now, at any time, did you mistrust those women? Because it would be like, where were you before I was in radio?
I had one woman I was either married to or going with, who said to me, if you're not going to consider how this affects me, think about how it affects those women you're having sex with, because when you're through with them, you come home to me.
Yeah. See, that was a very astute
and I thought that slowed me down a little bit, because I didn't want to hurt anybody in the process, my wife included. But I didn't want to hurt anybody in the process, and to have women, who knew that I was married. I never hid that fact, and or that I was going with somebody.
Yeah. And
then I would go home to them, and I never really thought for a moment about how they felt after I left.
Yeah. Now I always felt like that, which has saved me from having those kind of arrangements, because I said I'm possibly troubling the lives of 3 people, including myself.
Yeah.
And then, if a person's married, if both people are married,
Yeah.
If I was married and had an affair with another married person, that's two families involved. And I thought, I just don't want to be that kind of troublemaker. I don't want that cloud.
See, the thing I could never figure out, okay, I'm just looking at the time. We got a lot of time. Is that when I think about somebody like Jeffrey Epstein,
Oh, gosh.
why did he have to do that? He didn't need to do that.
But he could.
But he didn't need to.
I know.
He could have a wonderful life, screwing as many women as he wanted, and not have to go through a certain process of paying them or doing whatever he did that made him such a disgusting human being. Now, I understand Weinstein, okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
power.
if it weren't for his power, how else would he get laid?
Exactly. Just one photograph.
Yeah, I mean, he's a disgusting human being, right? And so I can kind of understand that, that he had to use his power to be able to get sex because he couldn't get it any other way.
Yeah, yeah. And well, with Epstein, I mean,
I'm not excusing Epstein, by the way. I'm just saying.
No, and his taste tended toward the illegal. And I think that was the complication in his.
I don't know that his taste went towards the illegal. His taste was just that he would invite people up to his room and they say, "Excuse me," come back wearing a bathrobe or just naked.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of Epstein.
Epstein. Epstein. Epstein wasn't a bad-looking guy either.
I know. Yeah. And but there was something about the ritual.
Okay, let me give you another example. Why did Cosby have to go out and buy drugs to feed these people in order to have sex with them? Any of those women would say, "You're Bill Cosby. Of course I'll go to bed with you."
Exactly.
I never understood that thinking.
Yeah, but people have these benchmarks in their mind about if a person behaves this way, it means their motives are this. And so I could see with Cosby, he might be suspect they're banging me just because I have the #1 show in the country, and it would make you feel depersonalized.
Well, I think that with a guy like Cosby, I think drugging them just was a thing of power.
Probably.
And when it comes to sex, people have their peccadillos, and his may have been power over women. And,
or some people view doing those drugs and then having sex as fun. Like if he said, well, I've never done GBH or whatever it was, but Molly, if someone said, you want to do some, like when ecstasy was a thing. Someone said, you want to
ecstasy was great to have sex on.
Ecstasy was the best.
And by the way, in case people don't know, not a dangerous drug.
It didn't seem to be.
No.
If you drank a lot of water.
I asked a lot of doctors about it, and they said no. He said that drug is just not, it's a pleasurable drug. It makes you feel pleasurable, things like that. It's used for other things in medicine and so on. But they said there are no side effects that are bad for you.
Yeah.
Maybe pregnancy.
Yeah. What about there's Molly. Now, is Molly the same thing?
I have no idea what Molly's are.
Yeah,
it may be the same thing as MDMA. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that was the prelude to ecstasy.
Well, ecstasy is MDMA, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
There was a rumor that they changed one little molecule to keep it legal. So it was a matter of staying one step ahead of the law. They would change the formula slightly, give it a new name, and get around the law. Well,
there was this one woman I knew who said, "You want to try ecstasy?" And I said, "I've never tried it." She says, "Okay, meet me at the hot tubs." And we went into a hot tub, and we took ecstasy, and it was wonderful. Oh, it was wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
even the rug feels good.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, you can get carried away with it just like you can, be addicted to anything. I wouldn't do it too much because it's that good.
Well, I mean, addiction is a whole different story. You can become addicted to chocolate, okay?
Right,
so,
or mayonnaise or anything.
Yeah, there are addictions, and then there are just, it was a casual recreational drug. And I asked a doctor about it, and he said, "No problem. Go have fun,"
And if Cosby said you want to do some blank, whatever he was into.
Well, no, he had stuff that make them pass out.
That's not good.
And quite frankly, Bill, if you're listening, I prefer my women conscious.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be unconscious. It's just not my idea of a good time, because they're not even going to go ooh and ah. They're just going to lie there like they were
cheerleader.
Yeah, and I just never understood that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But then again, I think it might be a gender difference.
And by the way, he did it for years, and nobody called him on it because he was Bill Cosby, and that's what Bill likes to do. He likes to give him I even knew about it.
You did? Because he lived next to your friend Al Goldstein.
Yeah, but I knew about it because everybody in Hollywood talked about it.
Really?
All the people that would come in and see us, they knew two things. They knew that Bill Cosby drugged women to have sex with them, and this was way back when he was, very popular, and the Jell-O guy and everything else.
Yeah.
And the other one was Weinstein. Everybody knew what Weinstein was doing. As a matter of fact, and I think it was a Golden Globe ceremony, somebody got up and made reference to the fact.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Of Weinstein and what he did and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and what about Armie Hammer? He got so into...
to begin with, he never was a big star, so I don't care. So I don't care.
He's a hottie, though, man. I do Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer what was his problem?
His social media, and he was really into B&D. And bondage and discipline.
Okay, fine. If the other person is into it too, it's fine.
Right. It started that way. But then he got to the point where he was wanting, it escalated to the point where he wanted to kill someone. He wanted to.
I don't know if that was the problem he had. I thought he had some kind of problem. I don't know. I don't remember it. He wasn't that important to me.
Right. It was kind of a minor scandal. But yeah, he liked, the alternative forms of sex, cosplay and all that stuff. And then he got into it, and it became the impression that he was looking for someone to make a snuff film. And that's what I got from a bunch of articles.
I'm going to have to go look that up. I don't remember that about the Armie Hammer. It was something else. It was something that he liked for himself that people were making complaints about. I don't know.
Yeah, it started as, just a consensual guy seeking out consensual partners for these activities. And then it just took a dark turn.
You know what I remember? The thing that's currently going on, P. Diddy.
Oh, yeah.
This whole thing. I've yet to see where there was anything wrong outside of the fact that he kind of beat up this woman.
Yeah, he dragged her from the elevator.
He dragged her down the hall.
But that's an assault charge.
But he kicked her with his bare feet, so it wasn't like it was a blunt instrument. He probably every time he'd hit her, he'd go to himself, "Ow!" I mean, but forget that. Overall, I don't see where the government's got any kind of case. This guy just liked weird sex with big parties for sex.
Yeah, I think it's in the climate of civil rights being just discarded that becomes a viable charge or charges or scandal.
Well, he was married to this woman, and he wanted her to do certain things, and she didn't mind doing them. Mm-hmm. Okay,
so no problem.
But wait a minute, this whole thing's about trafficking, isn't it? And it's all about this and that. And it's not about whether he dragged a woman down the hallway.
No, which it should be. That's the only evidence we have.
No, wait a minute. The only person that could make a charge against him and get him arrested would be the woman that it happened to, saying he dragged me down the hall, he beat me, I want him arrested. Okay. Yeah. But not the state saying, "Oh, this is a whole." I mean, he held parties. That was it. And he liked to have sex with multiple women, including his wife. Okay.
Yeah, what I don't quite understand is the hiring of male escorts. Was that for males or for females?
I have no idea. But none of it has to do with anything that's a federal crime.
This is true. I wonder. But they did the same thing to Chuck Berry. Remember, he was accused of violating the Mann Act for taking a 14-year-old.
The Mann Act is one of the things they're trying to accuse Diddy of, you know.
Yeah, which is like they tend to use it against black male entertainers. I mean, Chuck Berry and
Chuck
Diddy.
Berry spent time in jail for it.
Mm-hmm. And it was just, it was trumped up, and no pun intended. It was him taking a teenager, albeit he shouldn't have been blanking a teenager, but he took her across state lines for illegal sexual purposes.
It's called immoral purposes.
Yeah.
We're kind of almost running out of time here, but the hell with it. Can we keep going a little bit more?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
Sure.
And then we'll, then I'll go talk to the other people. But anyway, my favorite joke of all time was a guy who wound up being, where was it, on an island that was called the Island of the Immortal Porpoises. And he was shipwrecked there.
Yeah.
And he starts walking through the jungle trying to find some food and stuff like that. When all of a sudden, in the middle of the path, is a lion sleeping. And the guy goes, well, I can't go this way. I got to go over the lion. So he tiptoed over the lion and immediately was arrested by 2 cops. And he said,
okay.
What am I arrested for? And he said, well, because you're crossing a stately lion for immortal porpoises.
Even with the information which you gave, I thought I couldn't put it together.
You couldn't figure out where it was going. Yeah, I always liked that one, though.
Yeah, because it's so, the Mann Act is just, it's been abused.
That was a law that, it could be used against people, though, and it's being used against Diddy in this case.
Yeah, and it's being used against Berry, both black male entertainers.
Yeah, I just, I don't like Diddy. I think he's a creep. I especially think he's a creep because I never got invited to any of his parties.
Yeah, you were not freaking out.
I was not allowed to go to a freak, but it's just not. I don't think the federal case against him is correct.
Yeah, it's not, but everybody loves it. See, the news operations, the news outlets love it. It's clickbait. Mm-hmm. And, you got a famous person, it's sex, it's got everything you want. And the National Enquirer must be grueling.
But the stuff they're asking about has nothing to do with the case. And I know. It's all to make him look bad. Yeah. So a jury will convict him just because he looks bad.
Yeah. Very much so.
And I have no pity for Diddy. Oh, that's good. That's it. I have no pity for Diddy. I have no pity for Diddy, but I got to tell you, he didn't do anything wrong. I don't think, except things to various women who have the thing that should happen is they should make charges against him. Right. But they never did.
Well, plus so many interest groups will get behind a case. And frankly, tabloids and tabloid-type operations like TMZ have a vested interest in making this a scandal because it's clickbait.
It's money in the bank. It's money in the bank. And, it's also, it's just generally what we excuse for news now. In fact, the Diddy trial makes it to the 6:30 newscasts, and you're going, why?
Huh? Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
It's just amazing to me that they're spending this much of the government's money, which is your money and my money, not much of it, to go after this guy.
It's ridiculous. It's madness. But then again, that's what the media.
And what happens if he's found innocent? He's not found not guilty. Can he sue the government for that whole year he spent in jail?
I would think so. For loss of income, for all kinds of things. Yeah, but that's what's become of our justice system. It's been so co-opted by the media and media interest that it doesn't exist anymore. It's the image that you can't control, which is that of social media. Yeah. And then,
but as I say, who cares about it? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel the same way like I felt about Armie Hammer. Who's Armie Hammer? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about P. Diddy. You know, he's been around for a while. He's changed his name a dozen times. You know, I've had to keep up with that. What's his name this week? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, forget it. You know. So.
Yeah, because that some of these scandals I think up are actually cooked up by the media, by the TMZ.
Well, they're ginned up. They're ginned up.
I love that phrase.
Everything in the news today is the fact that these various news operations are gin up a story, and they just beat it to death. I mean, you know. Yeah,
and it's completely robbed of context. Anything that doesn't give the context is not worth watching. You are being manipulated.
Yep.
If you don't have context, you're being manipulated. Yep.
Well, it looks like we've kind of run out of time. Actually, we spent 30 minutes here instead of 25, but I could spend hours with you.
Hours, darling, hours.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we never run out of stuff to talk about.
No, it's fun. I just missed you so much when I was, you know, battling the big C. And it's just so fun to be back.
Isn't it nice to be a cancer survivor?
It is, but I try not to tout it too much.
Well, you're not. You're not till 5 years. 5 years you're a cancer survivor.
Okay.
Let's see here. My prostate cancer was almost 5 years ago.
So you're almost out of the woods.
Right.
But you know what? My mom was given a clean bill of health on her colon cancer, and then exactly a month later, it came back as pancreatic.
Pancreatic. Pancreatic. That didn't necessarily become pancreatic cancer from the colon cancer.
Well, it migrated and became both lung and pancreatic, and she died a very painful death.
Well, pancreatic is the worst.
It's toast. You're toast.
We knew somebody that died of pancreatic cancer.
Was it Rick?
Bill Hicks.
Oh, yeah. And supposedly the Isle of Langerhans, when they get lit up.
By the way, the Isle of Langerhans is somewhere over in Europe, I believe.
Yeah. It's off the beaten path.
There is a part of your body, folks. Well, let's just keep going here for a couple of minutes. Okay. There is a part of your body that is known as the Isle of Langerhans.
Yeah, and when they become inflamed, later.
So, you know, your mother had, how old was she?
She was in her 70s.
Really?
Late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it started. Mm-hmm. She was in her late 70s when it started, and then she died in her 80s.
Okay. So she survived a while. I mean, right now, Biden has prostate cancer. Yeah. Which I know about, and I said, why didn't he get tested? But then I remembered that the common belief is that once you reach 70, they don't test you anymore.
Because they figure it's going to work itself.
Because they figure the downside of, like, let's say they do your PSA. To begin with, you're going through a lot of emotion over that.
Oh, yeah,
waiting for the test to come back. And then when it does, if it shows up a certain positivity, then they do biopsies and do things like that. And they consider a lot of that unnecessary, that even if you had prostate cancer and you got it at, say, 70, you might live out a normal lifespan without even knowing you have it.
Right. And why erode the rest of your life with all the tests and the trips?
I wonder if I overdid it, okay? What with the radiation and the seeds and all of that.
You were just being thorough. I think any person.
But we did it, and there were side effects, and that's it. You know, I mean, at my age, I don't care if there's side effects.
Yeah, you're moving on up.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
So it you know, but I feel sorry for Biden. He's going through this, but there's a lot of things that keep him alive for a normal lifespan now.
Yeah, that aren't so intrusive.
Well, they are kind of. They give you a hormone which gives you hot flashes, but that's another story.
See, he'll have a whole new sympathy group, women who've gone through menopause.
Yeah, guys who've gone through menopause. Anyway, lovely talking to you again. Can we do this again next week?
Let's do.
Okay, and that's Lori Thompson, and I be Alex Bennett, and we love you, dear.
Love you. Mwah.
Mwah.
Now, in its 11th year, This is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Okay, thank you, Lori. We appreciate it. Lori will be on with us again next week, okay? All right, okay. Anyway, hello to everybody. There's only one person waiting. This is getting very frustrating, you know that? Anyway, so we'll go to them in, let's see a second. We won't be on tomorrow night. There's a reason why, actually. Number one, whoever calls on Thursdays. And also, tomorrow, on Friday, I have to go to the dentist once again. This time she's going to laser my gums. I don't know why that is, but anyway. So I figured since we got to go kind of early, and I have to get up early in the morning, we don't need to, have a show tomorrow. So we won't have a show tomorrow night, all right? Okay, you got it? Yeah, all right, I'm glad you know that. Anyway, let me see here. We got some people waiting to come on here. Let's see who they are. Yes, you got two people. Alan and Kevin. Hello, Alan and Kevin.
Hello, Alan.
Hey,
Kevin.
Hey, how you doing, Kevin?
okay. Hang on a second. I'm getting caught up here.
Are you getting caught up? You see, I always have a problem on Wednesdays. I always screw up the opening. So I have to go back and do it, but it's okay then. So.
Yeah.
But so we had a long session there with Lori, and I really enjoyed talking with her. So, anybody have anything they want to talk about tonight?
I'm doing okay too. Thanks for asking.
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Well, then why should I have asked you? Because you're doing good.
I know.
If you were doing bad, like for instance, Kevin has some problems with his leg, or is it your leg? Is that what it is, Kevin?
Yeah.
So when I say to him, how are you doing? He could say, my leg's killing me. But if I ask you how you're doing, you're never complaining about anything, so I don't need to ask you how you're doing.
I'm falling apart.
Are you really?
Yeah, I have a few issues, so.
Really? What a few issues like what?
Well, I'm fat.
Yeah. Well, we noticed that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I don't think we need to tell you that.
No.
And aren't you sick of going to doctors where they go, well, we tested you for everything. You're in pretty good health, but you got to take off a few pounds.
Yeah, well, at 66, it's not going to work. I've been trying to get these injectable drugs, and the only way I can get them is by paying the $1,500 a month full retail. And so here's the thing that I don't get about those, and nobody's been able to give me a really solid answer. You take the pills, okay? You take the shots, okay? You lose 50 pounds. Then you stop taking the shots. What happens? You gain it back.
So you have to keep using this
forever
at $1,500 a month forever?
Well, Medicare won't pay for it for weight loss.
See, Medicare probably should, because, if you weigh too much, that's unhealthy.
Yep. You would think that they would pay for it for us. Well, actually, Biden authorized it in 2025 that Medicare was going to cover it for heavy people that had other comorbidities, like I have asthma or something, which I do. Mm-hmm. But then the orange-haired turd came into office, and he canceled that.
Oh. Wow.
On top of some other Medicare benefits that we were going to get.
Yeah, they're going to save a lot of money by not paying people's medicine. They're going to save a lot of money by doing this and that and the other thing. The only thing is they're really not going to save money.
Of course not.
In the end, it's going to cost them.
Of course it is.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
Hi, pretty good.
What is your shirt? Because you're kind of lying down now. We can't ever see your shirt, the whole shirt.
Left brain, right brain.
Oh, pie. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
What kind of pie you look?
Yeah.
He might by next week. He probably will be able. You'll be able to see him more clearly.
Well, we'll see.
What do you mean we might be able to see him more clearly?
What do you mean we'll see?
Well, because you're assuming I'm going to have a lot of time to get that all set up.
Oh, well, I don't
Oh,
know.
what, did you send him something?
I sent him the laptop yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It's got Windows 11, and I don't know what browser to use, so I put Chrome and Firefox on it. Yeah. It's got a couple other little programs that are no big deal, and I'll explain to you how they work if you don't understand them.
Why shouldn't he just rely on, you have an iPad there you're using, Charlie, or a...
No, it's an iPhone.
iPhone.
Did you get the new battery for it? Didn't need it, did
No,
it?
It turns out there was just dust in the port where the thing plugs in.
Did you blow it out or toothpick it like I told you?
Yeah, I got a can of that compressed air and sprayed it all in there, and now it charges.
Well, there you go, Alan, to the rescue.
Yep.
Gee, are you a form of tech support?
I am.
Yep.
When it comes to iPhones, I'm pretty fancy.
I'm surprised.
It saved me about $900, so I don't have to buy a new iPhone.
Yeah, but Charlie, I'm surprised with all your experience, your love of tech and so on and so forth. You don't know those simple things about, blowing out the dust out of something.
Well, I know about that with PCs, but it never occurred to me I'd have to do that with my phone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, but your phone is another PC. You got to think of it that way. It's a small PC.
Yeah.
Well, I one thing he mentioned to me is that he carries his phone while he's umpiring, so there's all this dirt and dust flying around. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, blow out the port. All of a sudden, it wasn't charging. And my iPhone 14 is a little older than his, but by a couple months. But
yeah,
you got to blow that port out every once in a while, otherwise you don't get a good connection. So obviously that worked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I just would think Charlie would be better at it than he is.
You asked me about a mainframe computer or even a PC, I might be, but not a phone or iPad or anything like that.
So he will have a Windows 11 laptop next week. Well, it's supposed to be delivered Friday, but you can never tell with UPS.
Yeah. UPS, it gets there broken because UPS means oops.
Well, part of the thing is they usually get it right because they're a union shop and they're well paid.
Well, I had a bunch of stuff when I was living in Florida, and I got sick of working there. I had to send all my stuff back. Okay, so I sent it back by UPS, boxed it all up, and sent it UPS. By the time it got to me, all the boxes were crushed and broken, and a computer complete. There was a forklift that went right through one of my computers, and I kept saying, "What does UPS stand for?" Oops, Yeah. And my girlfriend at the time, who worked for UPS, didn't like that joke much. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
it's allergy time. Anyway.
Yes, it is. And you got pills.
Huh?
Yeah,
I don't know. They only work to a limited extent.
Take two.
I've got the spray too, the nose spray.
Yep.
The Flonase. I call it Flonase. They have it at Costco, and it's the same thing as Flonase.
I use it.
Yeah.
I have really bad allergies and asthma.
Yeah, well, so did I when I was a kid, and I still have it. But I
guess
basically
he's calling me a kid now.
Huh?
Compared to us.
Yeah, compared to us, you're a kid.
Right.
Oh, here comes Jeff Stein. What do you know?
Speaking of kids.
By the end of the show, we should have like 6 people. Anyway. Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
How you doing?
Not too happy.
Oh, wait a minute. Your browser is on. We can hear it.
Oh, I'll put that on.
There you go. Boy, you're getting good at this. Pretty soon, we're going to make you tech support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked you how things are, and see, he didn't go, I'm just fine, like you did, Alan. He went, not 100%. He didn't sound like something's bothering you, right?
Well, I was watching the game with the Knicks.
The Knicks and the is it the Celtics?
Yeah.
No.
Pacers.
Pacers.
Yeah,
It was the
I
Celtics.
can understand that not being 100%. The Knicks, I mean, please.
Well, they lost. In overtime.
But they lost only by a little, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, and maybe they'll, how many? Are there 4 games or something? Is it?
I think it's 7.
7.
Is it 7 that many?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, not 7 anymore.
Yeah.
6 to go.
Best of 7.
Yeah. Oh, everybody in New York is crazy about them. Even Marjorie is going, oh, yay, Knicks. And I go, well, cool it. They still got they got this, and then they got another thing. If they win this, they got another thing to win the whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't understand all these baseball teams.
I almost didn't get that. But part of me, which says you got to keep your Emmys, your sports Emmys, said, I think I get it. Okay?
Yeah.
So
I don't always get the teams. I know what the Knicks are, the New York Knicks. But sometimes somebody will say, oh, the Rangers. And I'll say, where are they located? Is that a football team or baseball? And then,
Or a hockey team.
Yeah, it's a hockey team.
it's a hockey team.
Well, there's a baseball team named the Rangers, too.
Right, see? So,
Well, they changed all of their names, right? In football or this.
Well, no, the ones that changed their name were baseball teams that had the names of Indian references. Although Atlanta still has the Braves, right? Or are
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're still the Braves.
well,
And Kansas City football is still the Chiefs.
well,
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, as long as you present them proudly,
Yeah, it's not a derogatory term.
Well, I think what was it? What was the one that had the Indian with the big nose?
That's the Redskins.
The Redskins. Yeah, that one had to go.
No, that was Cleveland Indians.
Well, Cleveland. Was
they had the big. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about the Redskins? They're not the Redskins anymore, are they?
No,
Washington Football Club. Commanders.
no. They're the Commanders now.
Nobody decided to call their team the Native Americans, did they?
No.
That's so. I think America. That whole idea of Native American is such a sterile term. It has no joie de vivre to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Chiefs, good name, okay. The Braves, good name. Redskins, pretty bad name. But what are you going to change them to? The Native Americans? It's not And I don't know, do Native Americans like being called Native Americans? Or would they rather be called something else like,
Indigenous people. I don't know.
They should call themselves we're here before you were, so get the hell out. I love how we got an administration that makes such a big deal about make America great again. If you want to make it great again, get rid of all the whites and replace it with Native Americans. Okay, because they, number one, had this land and it was taken away from them, and secondly, they respected it more than we do. So because they realized they could only kill so many buffalo, which they would use for clothing and food, but after that, you let them keep going because the buffalo were very important to the indigenous people here. Yet we then came in and we killed, we killed almost every buffalo in the country? Very good documentary on PBS done by Ken Burns. About 2 parts on the American buffalo. And it's disgusting, just absolutely disgusting what they did to the buffalo. So anyway. Doing okay though, Jeff? Otherwise,
Yeah, other than that, doing great.
I mean, I thought you had some like we're going to go. Oh, I went to the doctor and he said I
Well,
got
I
this or
did,
that.
but that was a different story.
Oh, what
And
are
I
the?
got the plus on that one.
You got a
They-
plus?
The guy said you got to run around the house a little bit. My Timex is up there still.
Well, the thing is that Jeff had a stroke many years ago. What, 30 years ago? Is it something like that?
At least.
Long time ago. And he's probably healthier than you are, Alan.
Probably.
And
he's 80 and I'm only 66.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
In a certain way.
Yeah.
With all kinds of chemistry.
Stroke.
Well, yeah, you're an electronic wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The $6 billion man.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful that we have these things available.
That's what keeps us old folks alive. Well, you old folks.
I mean, they were talking about prostate cancer and how now they have so many different ways they can handle it and take care of it. And, they say eventually Biden is going to die of prostate cancer, but it's a long way off.
No, the prostate cancer in Biden, they admitted is traveled into his bones. And
Yes, but they'd still have drugs that will take it and keep it from getting heavier than it is. Yes, he has it in his bones. He has prostate cancer. He will always have that. But they treat it, for instance, with hormones now. And the hormones, if you put in testosterone, it's either you cut off the testosterone or you add you
cut it off.
Cut off the testosterone. That it's pretty good. It starves the cancer and it has a hard time.
I just don't understand how this works on bone cancer. It's a whole different beast.
Well, you're talking prostate cancer, and you're
Right,
talking
I understand
prostate.
how it works with prostate
well, the
cancer.
cancer that he has in his bones is prostate cancer.
Right. Except for they can stop the prostate cancer in the prostate, but they can't.
But they can
they
can inhibit it from getting heavier in the bones.
That's great.
That's what I've read.
Something I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard that, but
well, I'm the expert.
I know. You got more medical problems than all of us put together.
Nah.
Yeah. I mean, how many people get their teeth lasered?
Well, no, they do that now. It's a laser thing for the gums, so that because she had to do some cutting up and doing some things like that, and this it makes it, just it clears it up,
Okay.
And I have to go to Scarsdale because she doesn't have the laser in the city. And I'm going, why don't you get one for the city too? I mean, come on. But I guess she has to make another couple of $1,000 from me before she can buy another laser. So, I go up to Scarsdale. Anybody? Well, you know what New York's all about, Jeff. Where Scarsdale is and where I am. I go down to my dentist on Madison Avenue, down around 63rd Street, 63rd and Madison. Okay. I also sometimes have to go up to her in Scarsdale. Which one do you think is more expensive?
New York.
Yeah, absolutely, and it takes a longer time. So we're grabbing a lift and we're going to go up there, and then the dentist's going to drive us back. Nice. I have a cab service with my dentist. So.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. What are you looking at, Alan?
I'm trying to confirm something before I open my mouth and stick my foot in it. Isn't there a horse racetrack in Scarsdale?
I have no idea.
Okay.
There's one and two of them, I think, in Long Island.
Well, yeah. There's what isn't one of them part of the Triple Crown?
That's probably one of the ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I can't find it. Okay.
Belmont, I think, is
Belmont.
Belmont
That's
Stakes is the third of the Triple Crown. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay. I would have been wrong. I was going to ask you, and you answered my question. So there we go. Pays to be the smartest guy on the show, too, doesn't it, Alex?
Yes, it does. That's why I do the show. That's why I host the shows, because I'm so smart.
You actually are in pretty good shape and pretty smart, too. Your mind, I mean, you forget things once in a while. I do, too, and I'm 20 years younger, but your mind is
You know when I
very-
forget stuff now, I find, is when I forget stuff when I'm under pressure to come up with it. In other words, if I got to have the name of a movie actor, I can't come up with the name, but if later on I'm not under pressure, I'll come up with it just like that. You know what I'm talking about, Jeff. You probably go through that.
Yeah.
Charlie
You're much
probably
better
goes
than I
through
am.
that.
Yep.
To a
I
large
go
extent.
through it. I just had the brain fart just now. So
Yeah, well, you know, I mean,
anyhow,
my brain farts aren't too terrible, you know.
no.
But I do forget stuff. I do forget stuff. I was just looking up Army Hammer because I was talking with Lori about Army Hammer, the actor.
Oh.
I played the Lone Ranger, I believe. I barely heard of the guy, except that there was something weird with him. And Hammer said he opened up the controversy about, let's see, there was something weird about him, and he got all kinds of heat for it. So I don't know what that was, and it doesn't say here. Army Hammer allegations surface. Does anybody remember what the Army Hammer?
He was supposed to have murdered somebody, wasn't it?
No.
Huh?
No. Army Hammer's ex comes forwards with their own allegations, alleging that their romance was like dating a wannabe Hannibal Lecter.
Oh.
He said he wanted to break my rib and barbecue and eat it. That was it. He gave some kind of idea that he wanted to be involved in cannibalism. So that's Army Hammer. I knew I'd heard of him somewhere. Yeah.
Isn't there another name that's quite similar, which is Arm and Hammer?
Well, Arm and
Right,
Hammer,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
Army. Well, imagine the family's name was Hammer, and they wanted to name their kid Army. You know,
Yeah, but isn't Arm and Hammer like household cleaners?
No,
and
that's
stuff?
it's a what is it? It's Arm and Hammer.
Baking soda,
Baking
isn't it?
soda. That's what it is. Yeah. And everybody uses it for everything. It's basic. It's used for cooking. You can put baking soda. It's baking soda, right? But yet they use it for everything else. You know.
Brushing your teeth?
I got a big sore on my ass. Oh, put some baking soda on it. You know. What did you say, Charlie? It was.
You can brush your teeth with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Does it taste bad?
No.
Actually, they have Arm and Hammer toothpaste. So you know.
Household products, like Alan said.
Yeah, but there's also, you know what Arm and Hammer baking soda is good for? You open it up, put it in the refrigerator, and it will prevent smells from getting heavy inside your, you know. But anyway. So what else is happening that I'm reading about? Today, again, you know, a day doesn't go by. I think Donald Trump wakes up every morning and says, what can I say today or do today that will have people talking? And then he's right, because idiots like MSNBC pick up on it and just run with it. He can so control them, it's disgusting. So today he had the South African president, prime minister, I don't know what the appellation is, But he had him in the Oval Office and did his typical thing of having like his goons surrounding him, like
like a mafia boss.
Well, our Secretary of State was there, and our Vice President was there. And you remember what happened last time with the head of Ukraine? They all jumped on him. Anyway, so they got this guy in there today. And as you know, the United States has allowed South African farmers, farmers basically, to come here and seek asylum. Now, there were only about 10 of them, okay? There wasn't a lot of them. And you would think if asylum seekers wanted to come somewhere from Africa because things are so bad in South Africa, there would be like 200 or 300 of them. But no, there were only like 10. And the president came here to talk to Trump and to say, hey, your allegations are pretty bad. They're wrong. Whites and blacks are getting along in South Africa. And so he started reading things from the, what was it? What's the newspaper owned by, what's his name? The newspaper baron from England. Who?
Washington Post?
No. He owns the New York Post. But anyway, his newspaper in England and the New York Post here, and they're all headlines from there about all these terrible atrocities going on in Africa. And it turns out they're not true. And tonight, CBS, on the CBS Evening News, had a reporter who is South African, who reported on what was going on in South Africa. And she interviewed farmers, and they said, what? There's no apartheid going on here against the whites. There's no, stuff going on.
Not against the whites, but against the blacks there are.
Well, no. South Africa is pretty much, Nelson Mandela became the head of the country, and it became very pro-black. But they say the whites still own most of the ranches, most of the farms. And she was interviewing farmers who were saying, we don't feel any pressure to leave the country. We don't feel our lives are at stake here. So he was reading all this stuff and showing videos that he had and stuff like that were all lies, basically. But he believes anything he wants to believe if it's in a paper somewhere. And it was terrible the way he was treating the president of South Africa.
The video was old, too.
What? What'd you say?
The video was old footage from a demonstration several years ago.
From a demonstration several years ago, yeah. And then there was this thing about
by a left-wing
a bunch of cars traveling down a road, and there are crosses by the side of the road.
Those were all dead farmers.
Yeah,
by the thousands.
By the thousands, yeah.
Millions.
But I don't know where that supposedly came from. But supposedly all of it's been discredited. And if you go to South Africa, you'll find that these people that came over basically were harsh right-wingers. To them, apartheid should be rule the day. It should be there again. And so really, it's not like everybody's leaving South Africa because they want to get away from the horrible killing of everybody. They say that crime in South Africa is pretty heavy at this point. It's very bad. But it affects not only whites, but blacks as well. But again,
19,696 murders, 36 occurred on farms, and 7 farmers were victims, and they don't know which ones were black or white.
Huh.
So basically, there is not a problem.
0.02% or something.
Yeah. So, and Trump just makes a big deal out of it. And, it's okay, he won't let people come from other countries to seek asylum. But if they're white, come on down.
He's trying to justify it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he asked
them for a plane. And the president goes, well, sorry, I don't have a plane to give you. He goes, well, if you had a plane to give me, I'd take it. Sure.
Did he say
Find
that?
one, let me know.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
And the guy from Africa said to him, I'm sorry we didn't bring a plane?
Yeah, I don't have a plane to give you.
Oh, boy. You know what he
said,
did?
well, if you did, I would take it. I'd be more than happy to take it.
He gave him a book on golf courses in South Africa.
Yeah, and then he slammed Peter Alexander for asking him about the plane that he took.
Oh, really?
He
I didn't see. I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah, I was driving, so I had nothing to do but listen to it.
Man.
He just basically called him an idiot, told him he was stupid. He's representing MSNBC, fake news, and when actuality he's just a pool reporter. And just tore him apart and said, you just ask stupid questions. You need to leave.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Just
his answer to any press person who asked him any kind of question that might be
when the president was
embarrassing.
trying to disavow the facts that he had, he wouldn't listen. He just kept saying, they're killing them. No, they're not. They're killing them. There's thousands of them.
It's the same kind of thing he did with the
Zelensky,
Zelensky, but he also did the same thing with the picture of the tattoos on the guy they sent down to El Salvador, that he said, MS-13's on his knuckles. And it was photoshopped on there. Somebody had done it and put it online as a meme, and he thought it was for real. And when he was questioned about it, he said, oh no, look at this photograph. Look at it. And he would not admit that anybody's, you could tell almost what font it was, okay?
Yeah. Remember when he was accusing the Haitians of eating the dogs and the cats and the birds?
Yeah,
and
well,
the
that's
swans?
a long time ago, but
but he just loves being crazy like that.
Well, I mean, I don't know where he gets his information from. He reads the internet. He reads things on the internet, and he'll believe anything he sees. So it's kind of sad.
Pretty embarrassing.
He was really rude to that reporter. I mean, he went on and on. Oh, you're from CBS, so you're a terrible reporter. You're a joke to reporting.
I would have loved that reporter to turn around and said, "You should look in the mirror. You're a horrible."
Well, you know something? They're afraid to do that.
I know.
Because they're afraid they will never be allowed back in the Oval Office. And their living is dependent upon the fact that they can have access to the president.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do about it?
Pray for a heart attack.
Yeah.
Elect the new president.
Well, unfortunately, in other countries, there are things called a vote of confidence. Mm-hmm. And if a president suddenly doesn't have the confidence of the public, he can ask for a vote of confidence. And if he loses, he's out.
So could
We
we?
need that.
Yeah, well, it would be very nice if we had that ability in this country.
It's not in our Constitution.
I mean, that's why, every 3 months.
He follows the Constitution.
Recently, every 3 months, you had a new person coming out of England, being the Prime Minister of England, because they would go for a vote of confidence and they'd vote the guy out, so. But anyway. Another little piece of this is interesting. There's a company called Discovery. You all know the Discovery Channel and the Discovery products. Well, they've just decided recently they took over HBO Max, and they decided to just change it to Max and combine it with some of its Discovery programs. Well, they found that the people who like HBO don't necessarily want to watch Dr. Pimple Popper. And so they finally have decided that they're going back to being HBO Max in a couple of months. All right?
Awesome.
Which is, it's a little too late for them to do it, but it's a good idea. All right? Yep. Today, it turns out Discovery has been given a absolutely negative credit rating because they say there's no reason to invest and buy stock in Discovery because they're gonna have a lot of troubles this year. So Discovery has pretty much ruined the brand. That wouldn't be, and then we have the problem on the other hand with CBS, with Sherry Redstone, who is the head of Viacom, wanting to sell it, but she's got to play nice with the federal government. She's being sued by Trump for a 60 Minutes thing that everybody says, hold your ground. He can't win this, okay? And she's thinking of settling with him. And everybody in the business is begging her not to do that, because if she does that, he's just going to feel emboldened to do more stuff. He's not going to stop there.
Yeah.
And they say, this is a question of 60 Minutes' desire to do what they, in their best judgment, was good reporting. And you should stand by it. And she doesn't want to. She just wants to sell the damn place. So now over at CBS, they're thinking about starting to really go after 60 Minutes and nail them down. And then CBS Evening News, anybody watch it at all? It's really a rather good newscast. I mean, tonight they were the ones that had a South African reporter reporting on the realities of what were going on in South Africa. And it's not a bad newscast. But they just hired 2 new people to take it over. All right? Just a couple of weeks into it, they're already saying, we don't know if we want these guys anymore. We think the newscast should change again. And this is why you got problems with CBS. I mean, all these people that have an outlet are starting to see they're falling on bad times. So anyway, that's a little bit of the news in the wonderful world of television. Yeah. So, and then every year they have these things called the upfronts. You know what they are? These are shows, they come to New York, they bring people into New York, and they all come in to sit there, and they take over Carnegie Hall or another place like that, and each of the networks show you the new shows that they're going to be having on. They bring all the sponsors and so on. It's a way of kind of selling in advance their programming. Well, in the past, it's been just the networks. This time, I think Facebook was there, YouTube was there, and now they're considered part of that whole thing, And so they're part of the upfronts now. And I heard a statistic today that more people watch YouTube at any given time than all of the other apps combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's endlessly entertaining. Come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. 2 Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed outside an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington. Wow. Well, okay. So anybody have any opinions about what's happening in Gaza? I mean, every night I see that Israel is bombarding them again, and
they want to take on Tehran now.
Huh?
Iran. They want to take on Iran now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Goodbye, Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to take on Iran, because they don't know what Iran has and doesn't have. But anyway, I mean, the thing is that, and also they killed the head of Hamas. They finally got him. They killed him.
Good.
Well, that's fine and good, but you didn't have to bomb the whole place to get him. No. I mean, they say, we're going to continue our bombing raids on Gaza. And I'm looking at it and going, is there anything left to level?
That's my thought.
Yeah.
He wants to level it and push it into the med.
Yep.
And he's gonna do it, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna kill genocide. It's gonna kill all these.
It already is genocide.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's genocide, and he's gonna kill all these people that are innocent.
Well, you see, I can see that you want to get these guys from Hamas. So you send some people in, you do some just surgical,
like the SEAL team.
a surgical operation. Okay,
like the Navy
but
SEAL.
why in the world are you preventing the people in Gaza from getting food?
Yep, they're starving them to death. There's no water. There's no hospitals.
I mean, it's pretty terrible.
It is.
It's pretty
genocide.
Huh? It's absolutely it's genocide.
Yep.
You know, it's a Palestinian Holocaust. Can we say that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, God,
Yep.
it's just amazing to me. And every country in the world now is begging Netanyahu to stop,
Yep. But they don't
and he
have
won't
power.
listen to anybody.
He's been
Except
convicted
Trump.
by the World Court, right?
Well, he can't leave. He can't leave Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, Putin, I don't think can go many places either, because Putin has been indicted by the World Court, and so if he were to like go to, I don't know, England or something, they could arrest him. So he can't leave Russia. So how's he going to leave Russia to go to talks, say, that they might hold in someplace like Istanbul or whatever? He can't go, you know. So anyway, it's all sad. It's just a whole world that drives me nuts. Kevin, how are you doing on getting a house up in Oregon?
It's bad subject right now.
What do you mean it's a bad subject? Why is that?
Yeah, it fell through. So
It fell
long story, but I don't want to talk about
fell through.
I still got a spare apartment up there.
it. Too far north.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably so.
Are you still going to look for a place up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the daughter being up there, or just because you like it up there?
Well, we planned on retiring up there years ago, but she ended up there, so yeah,
Yeah.
might as well go.
How many more years has she got in school?
2.
2. Wow. God, you're
Yeah.
going to have a graduate on your hands.
Yep.
Yep.
And she made the dean's list too.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah, I made the dean's list once, but people to get thrown out of college. But how you doing, Ray?
Don't waste my money.
I'm doing okay.
How's the acting?
Well, I'm getting ready to do Taming of the Shrew this summer on stage.
Who are you going to play?
Hortensio.
Hortensio?
Yeah. One of the suitors.
Oh,
who's
I
trying
see.
to get Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's it going to be held at, Ray?
A Half Moon Bay.
Oh.
Yeah.
How-
Outside in the park.
Oh, I see. How long? How many days is it going to play?
I think for like 3 or 4 weekends.
Well, that's
From, like,
good. That's good. You don't
Yeah.
get? Do you get paid for that?
Well, I left the union, so I don't get paid. If I do, it's not much.
Yeah. Why'd you quit the union?
Because there's just nothing for me anymore on stage. As soon as I'm not against DEI, but when that took over the theater, which it kind of did in the Bay Area, there really wasn't any room for old white men.
What union covers theater? Is it SAG-AFTRA? or no?
Actors Equity.
Actors Equity. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just hardly anything.
Yeah. So it's been harder and harder to find stuff.
Yeah, and I'm losing. As I'm getting older, I feel I've been doing this since I was in my 20s. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm 63. I'm thinking I want to do something. I want to try other things for however long I have left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this part is huge, and I'm finding it's not. I used to learn lines quickly, and I'm struggling.
Well, it's Shakespeare. That ain't
Yeah, and I
easy.
used to. The last time I did Shakespeare, I just learned. Like I don't even remember like working on them. I just got them. Like I just got them, when I was like.
Is it
40.
age you feel that's causing you to have a hard time, or is it?
I think it might be. I don't know.
Shakespeare is not easy. Okay.
No, I find it's easier once you get on stage and start interacting with the other actors. Then things start to make more sense and it sticks better in your brain. But when you're trying to do it at home alone in your house, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. But I'm trying to learn as much as I can before rehearsals start. So,
you know what it is? You have to get used to the way in which he used the language. And if you can get that, it becomes easier. I mean, I never did Shakespeare, and I never would. It's just too difficult. I could never do it.
Well, I've done it 3 other times. But I don't know. I was in my 30s and 40s, so.
Memory was never one of my great suits when it came to acting. So, but I did memorize whole parts. I mean, I managed to do plays and things like that. But it's not easy.
There's some great actors who takes a long time for them to learn their lines. Like
there are other actors.
Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
He says it's hard for him.
Yeah.
It takes him a long time to learn his lines.
Yeah.
And then others who learn them, they read, like Meryl Streep. She reads a part twice and she's got the whole thing down.
Yeah. But
it just depends on how your mind works.
Yeah. Yes, you have your hand up, Alan?
Yeah, you're almost the end of your show. Amy just sent a text to a little group of us, and it says there's no intersection. The sound equipment's not working.
Oh no!
Oh really? Oh well, she's not doing a show on Friday.
Right.
But
so maybe she ought to take the week off.
Let me see. Did she send me a message at all? Oh, let me see here. No,
it just came through 2 minutes ago.
Oh, well, let me see. Let me see.
Ray's in the group.
Yeah, I just didn't know. Oh, I see.
Let me see here if I.
I see it. Yeah.
If I got it here. Oh,
Sound
here.
equipment.
She responded to my ramble on Thursday, but I didn't get anything from her saying nothing.
Well, she said for us to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
How are they sure you're going to tell me?
I don't know. Well, she knows we're on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I just did, so yeah.
Yeah, I run Gabnet by rumor. How I run this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, she's having audio problems, is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I will just play whatever the last show was that she did, And I got about 45 seconds here before I have to play music. Anybody got anything they want to say? Charlie, you've been doing some of your umpiring work.
Yeah, I got umpire tomorrow night.
Yeah?
So I was going to miss you anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to be here tomorrow night anyway.
Yep.
So, And, and Ray, you're on the list, too, to get notifications when she isn't doing a show?
Yeah, we send all kinds of political things to each other.
Oh, I
all
see.
day.
Yeah, it's a group chat between Ray, myself, Charlie, Amy, and Wayne.
Oh, and I'm left out of the equation.
Well, we offered.
You said you didn't want to be on.
Sorry, I won't invite you to our Saturday night get-togethers with Kevin.
We offered, and you didn't want it.
You said no.
Kevin and I do something on Saturday nights that that none of you are invited to. Okay.
Well, you wouldn't have invited us anyhow.
Probably. Yeah. But we have a nice time, however. We really do.
Yep.
I'll bet you do.
Right, Kevin?
You betcha.
You betcha. Anyway.
By golly.
Yeah, by golly. Hey, thank you so much, Kevin, for being here tonight, as always. Always good seeing you. Alan, same to you. Are you sure you're okay?
I am, thank you.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Charlie, great having you here, as always. And Jeff, you're terrific. Just terrific. And Ray,
Thank you.
You can't call enough, Ray. You're great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, anyway, everybody give a big wave goodbye. and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. There's no Amy tonight, I guess, but she has some problems with her audio, so she'll be here again tomorrow night. Okay. In the meantime, I will see you tomorrow. I will see you on Friday. Okay. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, of course, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.